Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So in the second chapter, the first shloka, Anyat Shreyaha, Anyadutaiva Preyaha. These are the two things, Preya, Shreyas. Some people go for Preyas and some people go for Shreyas. Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sumitaha. Tayo Shreyaha arada Adaran Anya Sadhuhi Bhavati Hiyate Arthadya Upreyo Runishe. That means to say, so some people go for Shreyas and some people go for Preyas, and both these things they bind you, and then but one thing is that one who is bound by the Shreyas, and then he will get the Shreyas comes from Shubham. You get the Shubham. And then Preyas, that means whatever that you like, Preeti, and it will take you downwards. Over a period of time, it will take you downwards. So this is the idea of what is downward and what is that. We will come to see that. Shreyasya Preyasya Manushya Tau Samparithya Vivinakti Thiraha Shreyo Hithiraha Abhipreyaso Brunite Preyo Mando Yogakshema Brunite. That means to say, somebody who is Dhiraha, that somebody who has intelligent and discriminating, and then it seems to be he has a foresight. Such a person, Dhiraha, he selects the Shreyaha. After doing all those things, he selects the Shreyaha. And then Mando, Preyo Mando, Yogakshema Prodite. Mandaha actually means he does not have that long sight. Manda is somebody who is looking at immediate. He cannot see further. Even if you try to show to him that he cannot see that, he just his perception is only at that level. And such a person, and he sees the Yogakshema Brunite in the Preyaha. He also goes for Yogakshema, that's what is there. That means to get something, whatever that is there, he would like to preserve. But both these things, he goes by the Preyaha. What is the Preeti? Satyam Priyan Priyarupancha Kamaha Abhidhyayan Nachiketo Atyasakshi Naitam Shrunkam Vittamayi Mavapto Yasyam Manjanti Bahavu Manushyaha. So, hey Nachiketa, that's what Yama addresses him. Even though there are so many things that are of the prayers, that means to say that people can like it. Not only people can like it, people cannot get that kind of a thing. I have shown you, and in spite of the fact that I have given all those things, but people can easily get lost into that, whereas you have not gone for that. You still were adamant, you are strong to see that you choose what is good for you. Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata vidya abhipsinam nachiketasya manye sattva kama bahavo lolupantaha. Now he brings about this idea of vidya and avidya. In fact, this vidya and avidya is a dialogue that went on in Ishavasya also. But here also he brings about these things. So one is called as avidya and the other is called as vidya. So now the way that you are asking for, that means to say your interest is to go towards vidya and not avidya. Therefore, I'm very happy about that, very pleased with that. And avidyaya mantare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. Now, one who goes by avidya, he gets knowledge. He is panditaha. He is very well learned. And he thinks that he is capable of analyzing, he is capable of guiding in that direction. But basically, that there is something which he lacks. Dandramyamanaha paryanti mudhaha. He is somebody who is caught up in a web and then going round and round and round. And such a person, when he guides the others, andhe naiva niyamana yadantha. Like the way that an antha guiding another antha, the blind person. So this is what is the way. It just goes on. This is the way he says. We'll stop at that level. Before that, going into the why this particular idea of Shreyas and Preyas are created, we need to go to the whole, understand it from the depth of the creation itself. From the depth of the creation itself. What happens is that there are two types of pursuits that are there in the human being. And if they don't do two of them, they are the people who are like stones and they don't have any growth at all. But even the people who want to grow, there are two types of growth that is there for the human being. One is the growth that is towards in the external direction, and the other is the internal direction. And those people who are stagnant, also they thought that this is what we can achieve, beyond that we cannot go. Therefore, they have come to some far, and then they stopped at various levels. It is outside or inside. Both these things are possible. Because there is some benefit, something that is there. So, okay. Like you tell somebody to educate himself. There are some people even in the village that they educate themselves and they become extraordinary. They grow. But some people say, this much education is good enough. I can become a driver or worker or this and that. It's okay, fine. So both these things are options that is there. And some people stop and some people continue to grow. So both these things are there. And at what level he stops, doesn't matter. Both these things are like pyramid. In the sense that large number of people at the base, some people go up, some people go further, some people go to the fifth. But then it is the journey on both the sides. And both the sides that more and more that you work for, that means you earn something. If you don't want to work, then you don't get anything. If somebody who doesn't want to bend himself, then he remains, whatever it is. But then his life, there is no doubt about his life. He also can continue his life. And he's satisfied with the amount of life, whatever that he gets and the kind of life that he gets. He doesn't want to go beyond that. These are the people, what we call it as tamasic. Tamasic people, they don't want to put their mind into so many things. The upper chamber is not really happy working. Therefore, they can happy with whatever that is there. This is what we can do. Satisfied. But then some people who are higher and higher, they can see that they grow into a higher level. And this is what is the way that they continue to grow. And while continuing to go, again, that there are two different types of paths that is there. One path is where he says that, okay, I put my might and strength and all those things, more and less of intellect. And somebody is there who would like to go by intellect more. If you don't go put the intellect, then you will have to spend yourself in the physical and all these other areas. So these are supposed to be the Rajasic people. And those who try to work with the intellect and go ahead are the Sattvic people. So now this is what is the structure that we have in the external. So Sattvic people are that they are going out in the upward direction because of the intellect and the growth of intellect, intelligent. And then Rajasic people are the people who go either for the business or for the Kshatriya, that means CEO, etc., etc. And then Tamasic people are there, okay, whatever that we have achieved, that much is good enough. I don't have to go further ahead. I pass my become BA, BEd. I can become a high school headmaster, high school teacher. That's good enough. I don't have to become something. and then they're satisfied with that. So ultimately what happens is they find the satisfaction in what they are doing. You want to say, is it total satisfaction? No, it's not total satisfaction. But then a satisfaction level which they can accept, and something they don't want to necessarily go for, and they compromise with that. That's okay. And the struggle can be continuously going on. They have reached a satisfaction and the struggle continues to go on. They think that the world is a horrible place. Anyway, it has got all these problems and suffering and this and that. That's what is the way that they conclude about it. Whereas this is what is one journey. It is purely outside. So even the sattvic person, they can go in the outside journey only. The only thing is that they try to go more and more into that. Outwardly, what can be achieved, what are the things that can be done. They are the people who can see the amount of intellectual growth, the amount of intellectual development in the world outside, all that they can see. So, the second one is a person who is turning inwards. This is internal growth, internal development. But there are also some people who are stagnant. They don't go further. They're very good, very nice. But don't think that they are only sattvic. You see, they may be tamasic, very good. They are rajasic, they may be very good. And then they may be sattvic, but then they stagnate at one particular level. But inside. Like the people that they can definitely do some, in inward journey, they take it. So they feel that this is something which is more important than going outside. If he's a rajasic person, then okay, how many ashrams that we should develop, how much of money that we can get, and then how many temples, how does it think? Every temple should have one Shiva Vigraha, or I should have the biggest Shiva statue. So these are all the people who are the people at that level. They can do that. There are some people are there that they learn, sattvic people, that they learn that, but then they also study that I've read Kathopanishad, so many things that is there. And they get also some satisfaction with that. But then they go through their own struggle. But then they think that their struggle is the way that the life goes on. That's what is the way. And that's what even Narada, he comes to Sanat Kumaras and says in Kathopanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, I read all these Shastras, Rugadhyami, Kshatravidya Madhyami, Yajuradhyami, Samamadhyami, Nakshatra Vidya, everything that I read. But in spite of it, I am suffering. Shocha. Then Sanat Kumara says, Shokam Tarati Atma. The only way that you can come out of Shoka is ultimately you go to the final. Atma Vare, Shrotabhya, Mantabhya, Vididhyas. So the whole practice of that, it comes into that level. So some people are going at that level, but some people stagnate at various levels. So this happens at various levels. Lord Patanjali also says, he says that you earn a lot of things, but then you stagnate. That's what is the Vibhuti Pada. Because Vibhuti means at various levels, various activities are taking place. Creation is full of that. And then you can get caught up in this creation itself, and then at various levels you can stagnate. Somebody goes to the highest level. In fact, that's why they say that even the gods and goddesses are the people who are stuck at various something. And if somebody goes to the highest level is a person, then they will come and go down in front of him. That's what when Buddha got the Mahaparinirvana, all the gods and goddesses came to offer their prayers to him because he was somebody with extraordinary complete. What he could not go, he could reach that state. This is the idea. So this one thing which is going inward is actually to inward to find yourself. And whatever that is going outside is about the world outside that you are looking at. Now these are the two different paths that are there. But then why some people go in that way, why some people go in this way? In fact, people who go turn inwards are very few. People who go turn outwards are many. Why is it like that? What is that proportion like that? Is outwardly what is called as avidya. This is what is vidya. Vidya is a knowledge about the self. Avidya is, it's a knowledge, but about everything else, not self. Outside. That's how it is vidya and avidya. And the people who go outside, why do they go outside? See, when you look at it, right from the time of birth, that All the senses that are given to us is to interact with the world outside. So that has been the way that we are growing up, right up to the age of, say, 20, 25. This is what is the way that's going on. The learning process, when it is going on, it's going on only about the world outside. But then what happens is your system also develops with that. Raga Dveshas also develop in that. In the process of going outwards, that you get caught up with the Raga Dvesha, you get caught up with all those things. So, therefore, now what happens is that how you can cater to those things with the help of outside world, this has been the search for us. Either the search is in the form of, okay, I should be better than him, or the second thing is that I can cheat him to get something or the other so that I can be better. So outside world does not stop you to becoming moral. At any level. At the highest level also, that there is this kind of a cheating, because the outside is important. In fact, in our Disha organization, when we went to a college, the student asked us that, look, whatever that we educate, when we go to the work, this has nothing to do with whatever that. Yeah, many of us, we have seen that way. We have learned whatever, that by the time finally when we work, it's totally different from what we work. So what is very important is that, and finally, if I have to get a job, in the marks, that's what is important. And when I perform, they don't even ask all these questions, my performance is important. So that means now, marks is important for me getting a job, getting a grade. Why do you bother about how do I get my marks? I cheat, I copy, I get the marks. So you should be happy with that. And I told principal itself that, principal, your school records will be wonderful. And you are copy and do it. No other college, you can put it the headline that our college, the best grades and best all the distinctions are there in our college. Finish. That's what all those tutorial people that they put it list. So you can only put it. So why can't you do it? Very simple. And oh no, you should not do it. I think you are not given any answer. You only threatened me. I'm telling openly, but the people are doing behind. So I'm telling openly. So therefore, there should be something. So look at the way what outside becomes more and more important. This is what it leads us into. Therefore, what we need to have is to see that outside has its own demerits about like that. The second thing is about the inwards, inside. Inside also, when you are trained in the world outside for so many years that we have been in the world outside, so happens it's so easy to be easily guided by that. See, in the sense that yardsticks always have been in outside. What is the balance sheet? How many companies? How many things that you have made? Like for example, shareholders and how many shareholders that you have announced in this and that, how much include. So it's all about the outside world. When a person turns inwards, he also goes by the same token. It's not anything different. And somebody was telling that, look, I am such a intelligent, such a strong, wonderful Swamiji. Well, look at Ramdev Baba doesn't have anything, but he has 6,000 crore empire, whereas I don't have anything. There also you compare. So why it happens is because you are caught up in the world outside so much. Get out of that world is so difficult. And here also that hierarchy that I am better than him, I am senior to him. In ashrams, Swamijis. So the whole focus is on that area. But it's an unfortunate thing that is there. So the evil is because the simple reason is that all our education system, all our growth all these years is based on our interaction with the outside world. And outside world interaction was important for us to grow. If we didn't have interaction with the outside world, you wouldn't have been growing. So that's also growth. And this outside growth that is there, which has happened. And then there is internal growth that is there, what we are doing it. This is what is the growth of inner development. This is what is there. And another thing is, the more and more that you go into the outside world, uh, you go inside actually to manifest that's there within you. It's important to go that inside to see that what is there inside to manifest within you. And this is a common thing that is there. Like, for example, a musician, he might be by birth, he may have is especially gifted with the great music. But that's not sufficient. In order to manifest that great music, he has to go through the hardship. Many people don't go through the hardship. They have a talent, but then they don't go through the hardship because they don't like the hardship. They like not to have hardship. So the prayers is that, and Shreyas is this. What is good for me, I know it, but then I like to do is something which takes me. Therefore, it's all right. I can be a very simple singer, ordinary singer. In fact, if I'm good at something like what is that, Idol, America Idol and India Idol and all these things are there. Good enough for me. I don't have to become like a Subbalakshmi. I don't have to become like a Balamurali Krishna or Hari Prasad. I mean, that is not there. So therefore, they don't go through the suffering. They don't go through the hardship that they go. So therefore, somebody who chooses the Shreyas is somebody who chooses the hardship so that he can manifest that's there within him. A stone which takes the maximum chisel becomes an idol, and shaves from that becomes a footstep in the temple. So you have gone all the way up to the temple, but you remained as a step of the temple, but you did not go straight. To become like a idol inside this. So this is what is really the difference that is there. So, in fact, there is another Upanishad also which says, Kachid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshitaha avrutta chakshu. Somebody who is really wise is a person who turns inwards. And then he chooses what is supposed to be. Yeah, I need to go by that. So, when we say that you turn inwards, it is supposed to be what is good for me, Shreyas, and you go outside what is that which you like very much, prayers. Yes. But then the word prayers also comes from priya, and that means to say your love, liking. Liking is innate within us. It cannot be anything wrong about it. It cannot be anything wrong about love itself. Love is divine. We're all born with that, and that's what makes us. From there also, that from there only, all these things stem up, like compassion and your appreciation, your giving, so many things that come up from the Priya itself. So essentially, it's a divine quality that is there as Priya, and then whatever that comes out of that divine quality is what is Priyas. So how can you find fault with the Priyas? So you can't find fault with that. Therefore, you can't find fault with the world outside. Because the world runs because of that. So you can't find fault. But then there is somebody who is wise, he turns inwards. And this inward journey is what Nachiketa is. And this is what Yama says to him. Yama tells him that look at the way I've offered you all these things. I offered you so much that even I told you that even gods cannot have it. Nowhere else, nobody can find it. Humanly impossible kind of a thing. I've given all these things like Turya, this and that, elephants loaded with this thing, and I give you generation after generation of children and all that I give you. Most beautiful women from this thing I give you. All those things I give you. Now this question comes up. How is that Yama is talking to a 7-year-old boy? What is it about women and all those things? Physically today he may not have any appreciation for that property of it, but he is somebody who is matured so much that all these things must have been, the futility of all those things at least he would have known by his several generations. And in fact, actually, if you see a very simple thing, if Yama offers something and which Nachiketa does not know, then he would have said that, okay, let me wait and see whether it is useful or not. You see, the ministry, I would like to test it and find it. But Nachiketa does not say that. He says, you know that all these things, that they are for the world outside, but you give me the picture, because they don't take me away from the picture. So I need to know about that. So that means to say, one need not go through the whole step of things to see that one has the knowledge. Generation after generation, don't you see that even the species also they improve? Like for example, today in the village, you go to a cow, the cow knows very well, it goes to that hand pump and then with his head move the hand pump and drinks water. How did that cow know about it? Who taught that cow? It's over a generation people have learned about it. That's why there's a story of also that a topi wala, he went and slept under a tree and he was taking the topi, and then his grandfather said that, look, when you're going that you always halfway that you will have to sleep under the tree. But invariably it happened that the monkeys will pick up the, but you don't worry about it, panic, because I have had similar experience. I put them down and then everybody, all the monkeys put the head topi down. So you do that. And this fellow also went halfway, he was tired. So therefore he slept. Naturally the monkeys took away all those topis. And then he put the topi down. One monkey came and picked it up. Your grandfather told your story, my grandfather also told your story. The idea is the species will improve, increase. Don't you see that? Like for example, what we have learned in the primary, middle school, high school, today children learn about in primary school. What we have learned in college or universities, today in high school all those things are there. Yeah. It looks like all these children, in fact when we look at it, we think if I appear for the higher secondary exam, I think I will fail. Yes, definitely. Because whatever that investment we had done, they already started from that. The species itself gains knowledge. So even if you leave it, we gain knowledge that is there and we grow. This is what is happening. So therefore this knowledge about these things are there. In fact, that's why people say that about the sex education. We never knew about all those things until we were 15, 20, 25 or something like that. Today, 13-year-old children talk about it. Yes, they talk about it. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to understand that and be prepared for that. That's what is the right way. You can't deny it. Yeah. And you can't blame it. See, you want him to be a child prodigy in so many other areas, but not a child prodigy in sex. It's also another knowledge. So if you find fault with those things, that will not help you to grow. That's what it is. So therefore, basically, the knowledge is there and the growth is happening. But whatever may be the direction inward that is there at that time, say 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 5,000 years ago, exactly the same way today also it works. So that's why this journey out there going outward or inward is something which is always there. If your search to find out for yourself is one way, or going in search of the world outside is another way. And there also the traps are there, like the way that you go outside. The traps are the jealousy, anger, hatred, all those things are there. The same way when you go inwards also, the jealousy, anger, hatred and greed. It's a different way it manifests. You are greedy about something else, there you are greedy of something else. But then you should come out of the greed, then only you are really turning inwards. You find your own divinity that is there. That's what Patanjali says. Purusha Vishesha. It's such a beautiful word he says. And that is, in fact, he used that word so that you have to go inwards and to see, find out that that's what is the search that you need. So, look at the way Yama he has done is, first thing is that he did not stay there when Nachiketa went there. So he wanted to see that his determination. See, that shows the determination of the boy. So that is the first test he has done. And the second thing he has done is that that even the gods cannot get it, even these people cannot get it, nothing will happen. You close the door. The knob, you turn it. Close the door and turn the knob. Right. So, the second one he has done to see that ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ನಾಯಿನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಾಗಿಲು ಹಾಕ್ತು. So the second one he has done is to see that Nachiketa is fearless. See, unless until somebody is fearless, he will not be able to go towards that. See, Yama's idea is that death itself is frightening. And then he's continuing with that fearlessness. That means to say, this is also very important because Kathopanishad we have studied. Then it says, Vishasmat Vatapavate Vishode Surya. That means there is a fear of Surya, fear of earth, fear of this, fear of that, and all that. Then Shankara asked that question, why they have fear? The fear is that identity is gone. Your identity will be gone. So that's what their fear is. And this person is totally fearless. He is, no matter what happens, he wants to get the knowledge. That's why he says that it is very difficult to get it. Nobody can achieve it. And you will be a total failure. And you cannot achieve it. When all these things are said, I may not even achieve it. It doesn't matter. I might perish. But then I go in that particular direction. I need this knowledge. The first one that he tested is that his stubbornness, steadiness, and that's what is the determination. And second thing he tested is the fearlessness. And the third thing is that, all these things he said, I give you so much of riches and this and that. The third one, he said, I don't want all these things. In fact, I'm not against those things, averse to all those things. He said, for this knowledge, if you can offer all those things, what must be the worth of that knowledge? So this is what is the idea. That means to say, Vairagya is not giving up the things. Vairagya is raising above that level. So you are giving all those things, they're worth it, they're wonderful, they're beautiful. But then what you are not giving it to me, hiding from me, is something which was much more worth than that. So Nachiketa's argument is about the Vairagya. And why it is important is that this world is still necessary for us to have our interaction in this world. We are interacting in this world, we have the food in this world, we have the shelter. All these things are there. So therefore, basically, that you go through this world, so it's not rejecting the world, but rising above the level of the world. It's like the way, this is what is called as the lotus leaf on the water. See, the lotus leaf is born on the water, food is water, shelter is water, stays on the water, the house is water. In spite of all those things, it did not allow the water to get inside. That is what is the way that Nachiketa is decided about that. Now, this what Nachiketa's whole story also is supposed to explain us the whole cultural aspect of it. This is something which is extraordinary, how this whole culture has been shaped. And that's most important aspect of it. All these small Shreyas prayers, what we are talking about, is also a smaller detail compared to the bigger detail that is there. And that is, a child who is growing, you are giving him the world outside. He is interacting with the world and he is taking the world from outside. Learns about the trick of the trade, all those things about the world outside. Before that, he did not know all those things. See, the child knows only telling the truth, doesn't tell a lie. My son was very little. On Sunday afternoon, I was resting, lazy. Somebody came. I said, go and tell him, Papa is not home. He probably goes there and says, Papa says he is not home. Yes, Papa, he is not home. Very simple. There is no question of honor. So child is like that. Then now we tell the untruth about him. Like for example, he is not in a mood to go to school. And then the school bus is coming and then mother is putting the socks and shoes and all that. He hanky-panky, he doesn't want all those things, but then she does it. But then he has his own excuses and says, oh, I don't want to go, and all that he cries. When the bus comes and the arm comes. Then mother says from there that today his stomach is hurting, he cannot go to school. This fellow, even at the top of the voice, he must be shouting that, no, my stomach is not hurting. But the mother says, you shut up. And then after the bus goes, he feels guilty. He tells Amma, my stomach is not hurting. Oh, it's okay. Tomorrow you can go to school. Now he learns the trick of the trade. It's not a question of truth or untruth. It's a question of how to manage the world. So we have taught the people how to, and I've seen one place very clearly, that father does the whole home, this thing, or project work. And the child takes it to the school and tells the teacher that my dad did the whole thing. And you are supposed to do it. But you give the child that kind of work that he can't do it and the dad will do it. And then actually you are giving the marks for all the dads. Not for the children. So we have learned so many things in the world outside. This is what basically we learn when we are born in this world. World teaches us all those things. And world also teaches us bad and good, everything that is there. But when you learn that there is something which is inward, we'll never have any idea. That's why this particular culture, what we said, inward journey is what is called as a journey. Charanti is also supposed to be journey. And what is that? The journey towards Brahman. That's what is Brahmacharya. So therefore, they did not expose him to the world outside in the first 25 years. That means actually, it's a very beautiful idea. Concept is, we are all, the main thing for us is the moon actually. And our supposed to be full age is supposed to be when we pass through 1008 moons. Sahasra Chandra Darshana. So that means to say you have completed one full cycle.
80 years.
Yeah.
80.
So it is 80 plus some years. A couple of weeks. Months. 6 months. 5. No. Actually 6 weeks or something.
6 weeks.
Something like that. So totally become it's 1000. It's Sahasra Chandra Darshana. We say it's 1008. Because 1008 is the full number. So now what they have done is this 1008 divided into 4 parts. And first part is supposed to be Brahmacharya. So the child is removed from the society and then sent to the Gurukula. And Gurukula are the people who are matured both in age and also in the inward journey. So therefore, at the formative age, when he is learning, all that he learns, all that contact that he has is something about Brahman, something about the discussions about Atman, sitting and meditating, doing Surya Namaskara, going out and getting few things, and not depending upon the material outside. It's such an important thing because material can easily make you dependent. So whether you are rich or poor, you may be a king's child or you may be a servant child, but you're all same in the Gurukula. You earn the same way, you get the material from the same way. And so the whole life, what is the value in life is all these material things are secondary, but your growth into inside and knowing it and value of it, this is what is something which is very important. This is what is the Brahmacharya. Unfortunately, what happened is that Brahmacharya, they have translated to abstaining from the sex. Abstaining from the sex is such a small little aspect of it. And that's not something that you struggle to do it. If you are doing so much in a larger perspective of Brahmacharya, that automatically happens. You don't even have an idea of what is called as going for a sex and trying to find email contact, web contact, and WhatsApp messages and all that. You don't have to do all those things. So this is what is the way that you're given because there's so much of information inside. This is one aspect. Second thing is you develop a respect for the world people. And you develop respect for the knowledgeable people. And what kind of knowledge that you have respect is the kind of knowledge which makes them so stable, so steady, nothing wavers them. Because that they have trained themselves into that like that. Jnanavruddhi, Vayovruddhi, these are the things. And you see, you don't even have to expect that in the society there are so many people who are self-realized. Self-realized people are few here and there. But then the value for the self-realized people comes from because of Jnanavruddhi, Vayovruddhi people. This was the kind of society that was created. Just put the child for about 20 years, 25 years in this particular kind of a training. That means he is so matured himself, and after that you put him into the world outside. Then he knows how to use the world. He does not know how to abuse the world. 99% of the people, they know only how to use the world. 10% of the people who abuse the world, then you can take care of it. The society does not have to have a system, a mechanism to take care of 100% of the people. Whereas today, we have people supposed to be society take care of 100% of the people. You can't eliminate anybody, excuse anybody. Everybody has to go through that X-ray tube, like in the airport. MRI, X-ray, all that. What we need to go through. And on the other hand, that if somebody by chance is good and with values, then he comes into this world in a place where the brahmacharya system was not there, and 90% of the people are after money, after riches, then this fellow feels inferior. See, the value for this will go down. This is what is dharma shaglani bhavati. That means dharma will not come down, but dharma is clouded. And for that reason, we need to have that brahmacharya ashrama. It gives such a extraordinary, wonderful wisdom to you to manage this world later on. That was the idea. When I was working as an engineer, in an engineering job, there's so much of corruption. Under the table, after the table, and then people will have 4 or 5 pockets like this, and then every pocket that they have all those things. So that goes on. Very difficult to be non-corrupt. But there is one fellow from Andhra, absolutely non-corrupt. Absolutely non-corrupt. In fact, he would keep one pen for the office work, another pen he would have brought for homework, anything that he has to do. That's what he was there. But those days, you have all these phones and all that were not there. He would never use office phone for any home purpose. Never. Period. If there is anything that he will apply, leave and go home, and then attend to that. And naturally, when somebody is not corrupt, in a corrupt society where everybody is corrupt, how can you be, with little money? And then added to that, he has 4 children. That's another burden. So naturally, he doesn't even have a shaving blade every day. So once in a week, once in 3-4 days, he would shave the dhatis. And then he will have the Hawaii slippers, and then he put a pin for that. But he was brilliant. And then I would say to him, Raugar, how are you? And then Raugar would say, why do you ask me how am I? You see, I'm like this. Because I'm non-corrupt. I'm very truthful, honest, and this and that. I used to tell him, be corrupt. And then have good dress and shave every day, look beautiful, look nice. So that if you are like, you will be like anybody else. But if you are like this, if few people who want to be corrupt, non-corrupt, by looking at you, they will not be inspired. So it is not to be non-corrupt, but it is more important how impressive that you are. So such a person who naturally within himself comes about the values and this and that, in a society where these are not available, these are lacking, in a society, you feel that you are lost. You feel miserable. Your life is in state. So therefore, how can we project these values? If I simply give these values, the society is saying that everybody should be clean, everybody should be non-corrupt. The society cannot accept it because the people who are on the general are like that, and few people who are motivated into that also, their motivation goes away. The only solution for that, the way that our people have thought about it, want to save the society, is that first 25 years, let them gain everything in the form of values, because that's what is the strength. And virya, sex, that's what is the strength. And the knowledge, that's what is the strength. and the association with the old people and all that, that's what it is about. They're the only society where the old people are respected. Extraordinary thing. In fact, Dr. Garner, he was telling that what brought you to India in the first place? You see, he came here several years ago, and he said, I was so impressed by India. And so impressed, that's why I came here. In fact, you think of that India when I came 40 years ago, did not have anything. We didn't even have buses to go to villages. And then if I have to go, I have to hire a cycle rickshaw. I mean, a cycle. And then how many times I fell down from the cycle. All that happened. And I didn't have anything at that time to support me. But what really helped, he said, what really made me to feel proud of India, want to belong to India, want to come to India, is because India is one place old people are respected. Every house has grandparents, and every child is safe with the grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only when somebody else from outside looks at it, you can see that how safe the child will be with the grandparents. And not only that, from the grandparents, they learn about the culture, the stories and culture and all those things from the grandparents. Wow. When he said day before yesterday about that, I was amazed. His perception is so clear. And today, we are taking the grandparents away from the children. And in fact, we say that don't talk to them because all that idea they give is Purana. So they don't talk about Mickey Mouse and all that. So you have to come to this. And they don't even know about all this nursery rhyme that they are talking about. So this is the unfortunate thing that has happened.
It did happen.
Yeah. But look at the way that, you see, we never thought about the Brahmacharya Ashrama so extraordinary. In fact, the moment that you develop the sexual instinct when you are 13, 14, and at that time you start involving into the sex, imagine that you don't know the value of sex, you don't know the value of the other gender, other person, and then you go by that, and then what is the damage it will done to both the families? Families, they have to go with their head down, head bowed down, call this thing, and by the time you realize, then his time is already over. So therefore, 25 years is the Brahmacharya Ashrama, then such a person will be part of the society. Such a person who has respect for the elders, such a person who has learned everything about not only the knowledge, not only the value of the sex, value of the control of all those things, and value of the material outside, all these things he knows. Therefore, even if he goes for the material, he can put it into the right use for himself and for the others. He has the strength within himself. We don't have Brahmacharya, therefore when we go to the world outside, we don't have that inner strength to be able to manage ourselves or manage the world outside. If I were to have that kind of an inner tapasya for first 25 years, then when I go to the world, if in front of me somebody is doing wrong, I can tell him that we are doing wrong. I don't hesitate, even if it is a king, I have to tell him. Because you see that inner strength is like that. So therefore, they used to depend upon this particular system. Every king used to respect this Brahmacharya Ashrama, and then rishis and all these people who have established that Brahmacharya Ashrama and all that. And another thing is that if the foundation is that way very strong, in the foundation, what is more important thing is, it is the aspect of learning. It's rather than what you learn, it is the aspect of learning. Because the child is in the process of learning. So the aspect of learning that is starting to do, how to go and fetch your food, how to go and wash your clothes, how to train the river to come to your, how to serve your elderly parents. All these things are taught. So that means to say, 24 hours they are in the learning process. Whereas if you take the books to learn, you see, 1 hour that you learn, then you would like to break off from that. You think that learning is only when you are sitting in the classroom, then classroom cannot provide that. Your life has to provide that. And another thing is the learning that you have is the living with the few people, whether living with the similar kind of students and children and all that. Learn about their culture, their way of life and all that. What an extraordinary, wonderful way of learning that would go on 25 years for everybody. In fact, you try to, particularly the system is so bad now, right from the kindergarten, they are training for them for IIT.
Right.
I mean, as if that is the life.
Mm.
And that fellow will walk out of IIT, he's there in Prashanti,
Mm.
just does not want to, he doesn't even want to see people. You know, his eyes do not match with the people because he says, the moment I see somebody, he will ask me about why are you wasting your time, what is this, what is you have done, you have done IIT, and then all this kind of thing is depressing for me. I just can't do that. Well, it's only, you see, it's a narrow vision that we have, it's a tunnel vision that we have. This is what to create. Whereas the broad vision that we used to give, brahmacharya, so that a brahmachari is somebody, whether he's in the North India, South India, East India, West India, he could really go anywhere and work for that, and he can enjoy himself. So the whole culture has become his own. It's not the country is his own. Whereas today, we don't have the ownership of the culture. Therefore, we are holding, I mean, some people holding on to the country. Even that also they don't hold it. But at least they think that they're holding on to the country is better than holding on to the culture. So this is what is happening. So, if I look at it in the whole system, brahmacharya is supposed to be such an extraordinary, wonderful, strong foundation that we used to have. And all that what we learn in the brahmacharya is not a challenge for the children. You ask the children to bring wood, it's not a challenge for them. Go and cut the trees, it's not a challenge. Or plant trees in line, it's not a challenge for them. Or sing a song, everybody together. It's not a challenge for them. Somebody is sick, sit overnight to take care of him. Not a challenge for him. Ask him to learn mathematics is a challenge for him. By heart, memorize the biology, all the body parts, he gets a headache. See, learning process has to go on. It should not go on in the form of challenge. That was an ingenious system that we had. Such a person is really matured, whether it's an engineer or a doctor, anybody, he is a mature person, he comes out into the society. Next 25 years is such a great asset in the society for 3-4 reasons. One is he can establish himself. Second thing is a wonderful human relationship with the others. Nobody else can have that kind of relationship which he has it. That is the second thing. And third is, whoever is in need of the society, that he can take care of it as a unit in the society. Every house that is there is a unit in the society. He can develop that. So like that, next 25 years, he can start business, he can start companies, he can innovate so many things. That's why this country, though 25 years is spent in the form of brahmacharya, next 25 years, the product was so much that we were in the top of the world. We knew anything about everything. How to train the waters to, how to build the, best of the town planning that we had, best of the architecture we had, and metallurgy that we had. All these things we had because that next 25 years, all that energy and all those things, he developed that. But the development was not for the wrong use because that he's already been trained to be the right kind of a use. So this is what in the next 25 years are approximately 1/4 of that 1008 moons. And then look at the simple way, because now he has a training there, elderly people and all that, and he saw that how they have trained him, how they have now that impression is the best impression in the childhood that you have. And now you see that you are growing old, so therefore you now turn towards that. In the business, now you don't grab the business, but you try to empower the other people. Such a beautiful way the empowerment used to go on, because his own son is there, that area people are there, so train them. So until they become 25, they go through this training. And then this 50 to 75 is the vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is, you see, vana means basically, it's lush surviving by itself. Nobody is doing anything. You don't go to the forest and put, these days we have to do that. Otherwise, forests do not survive. It's something which is extraordinary. By its own self-strength, it survives. That's what it is. So once he knows that, now the child is 25 years because his son has come from the Guru. And then he starts a company. Or maybe a family company that he takes care of it. But he does not have enough confidence in that one. So the dad is there behind him, and he is an advisor. That's what is Vanaprastha. Wanting to make that the son is self-sufficient. Like the way the forest is self-sufficient. Vana is self-sufficient. Vana itself manages itself. And Vana takes care of all the trees that is there. Not only that, all the wild animals, other animals, insect, everything, it becomes the house. So this man is capable of handling the whole nature in a wonderful way. That's what is the training that dad gives. In fact, all that he has to give is one simple suggestion. One simple suggestion here, one simple suggestion there. You see, you are not mature enough. Like the way the son comes back from the Gurukul, learned about all this, Jataka, horoscope. And is very proud that now I learned about everything. The dad said, please don't go, I will go with you. No, I can manage everything. I know you can manage everything. But everything you can manage, but the age is not there. The training is there, everything is there. Age is not there. Therefore, let me come with you. They both went to the king. And then king, because this young fellow is a gold medalist from Harvard and all those things that is there. So he showed his. And then immediately the young fellow, he said, he was about to say, the dad said, oh, don't say anything. I will also see. First, let me share my idea, then you share it. Then he told the king, look at this, king, you are very prosperous, you are going to be very good. The kingdom will be very happy, very harmonious, kingdom will be, kingdom will have such a godlike king, everything is beautiful, and all that you can see in this. The king was very happy and given him all that riches because, and then the son he was confused. He said, Dad, what did you say? It's totally opposite. He said, what's opposite? And I see in the palm that in 2 years the king is going to die. My dear son, I also saw that. Before you tell him, you should be prepared to die. He survived. Now, what I said does not have any untruth in that. The kingdom will have wonderful king. My meaning is that next king is going to be extraordinary king. But he assumed that he is wonderful king. Kingdom will be prosperous. He was happy. I did not say anything wrong. I said all that is there. So it's not only that it is having the knowledge is important, but also to see that how the application is very important. So I have that experience. Therefore, the father will give the guidance to the child.
Satyam Bruya, Priyam Bruya.
Yeah, na Bruya, Satyam Apriyam. Priyam cha nanutam Bruya. That's damaging. Yes, Dharma Sanatana. So this Dharma that we are following it. So therefore, essentially, next 25 years, the son will really become matured in that. He's on his own, like the way the forest is on his own. And now, his son is now going to come from the Gurukul. So therefore, now the father will go to the Gurukul to teach. So these are the people in the Gurukul who teach. That's what is Samyak Nyasa. That means to say, he has now identification with all these things, including the business, he gives up. And then he is himself. And such a person, when he teaches, the student will get so much of respect, not only for the person, but the person who teaches. Not only that, but for the knowledge that he is teaching. And then this person says, look, and another thing is, imagine the Gurukul where the student and teachers are sitting. This used to happen in Prashanti earlier. In Prashanti earlier, we had only Ashwini and then Pushpa that was there. Small little houses that were there. And then, the steps that come down from Mangal Mandir side. I used to sit down on the steps. People used to sit around. And this is after evening dinner. And then you sit down and then talk about various things. They're all from the experience. And the children just were so engrossed in that, the students. So learning process was something like, they said how wonderful it is. In fact, not only that, when we were traveling in the bus used to go in the morning and then come back in the evening. So I used to come back by the evening bus, 5 o'clock bus. And then all these students who were in the city and some of the workers who were in the city, they also used to come by the same bus. And then, bus front seat is a VIP seat. So Nagendra, Nagaratna, they used to sit there. And they would say, come on, you sit here. No, I'm sitting at the back, last seat. Because the advantage there is that all these people are around. And then I would have started, what is that you are learning and this and that. Next 1 hour journey, there's so much of discussion would go on about philosophy. Informally, that was the real learning. In fact, many times, like Manjunath, now today he is the researcher, he used to, he was coming from that join the Bannerghatta road in between and then keep the scooter there, get into the bus, like going to Prashanti, Mar. And while coming back, he would sit with us, and then the discussion was so interesting. Many times he came to Chamrajpet, took an auto to go back and catch his scooter.
Get down there.
Yeah, he would not get down. The driver would stop. Sir, Manjuna, sir, that your stop has come, you get down. He said, Ila, okay. Slowly he used to say that. How many times? Because that's a process of learning that would go on. So, if the elderly people with all that experience and everything that they are there, that time they tell and the education that they give is always in terms of either experience or in the form of stories.
Yes.
So for the children, that just goes deep inside. They don't have to make any notes or prepare any syllabus or exams and all that. That's what is the training. Imagine for 20 years you don't have any syllabus. 20 years you don't have any exams. What a wonderful life it is. That was there's no tension at all. That's why learning process goes on. And once you have learned all the values in that place, then when you go out into the society, then you can choose any job. It's up to your choice. You know your guna, you know the work that is there outside. So you can take up. See, look at the way that how extraordinary this particular concept was. The teacher of Rana Pratap was a wonderful teacher, extraordinary, wonderful fighter that was there. But he knew that his talent will be useful only under Rana Pratap. So Rana Pratap was the king and he was the chief of the army. He subjected himself to be the chief of the army. Rana Pratap is his own student. But all the tests that he has given for him, he crossed all those things. And then he became king. When he became king, he said, I will become you. And then he came, actually, he asked, can you become my minister, my chief of army? He said, yes, I'm honored if you ask me to do that. You see, when you look at these stories, there is a question of ego trips or anything like that. So this is how this 4 ashrama dharmas. It was like this to see that you can recognize what is shreyas and what is prayas. See, prayas is not sacrificed. Yeah, you like it. But then you know that the priority, the engine before the train is the prayer, is the shreyas. When shreyas leads you and your life, then that is where basically it just goes in the right direction. So anyat shreyaha and anyat dadaita praya. That means to say, some people will choose the shreyas, some people will choose the prayers. And you know, at this level, somebody has to choose what is called as shreyas. 7-year-old boy, what must be the extraordinary thing? And what kind of this thing, what is that? Offering that he has given. You know, anything could have easily tilted him to the other side. Small little people come to the field of spirituality, for that they come to yoga. But then, yeah, you do PhD. Okay, fine. And then publish papers. And afterwards, they'll go, every year, how many papers did you publish? How many papers you have? Where is the journey now?
Journey is publishing and getting
publishing, and then once you publish 5, 6 papers and 10 papers, then you have to write a book.
Yes.
I mean, the world has so many books. I don't know anybody reads those books or not, but you still get.
And then you'll have to start traveling university to university, giving lectures.
Right, giving lectures.
And then next is, what prize can I get for this?
Yeah.
Whether it's a Pulitzer Prize or the Nobel Prize.
I'm worth giving half an hour talk minimum. but you called me and gave me 20 minutes of time. You're insulting me. Then I told that, take my 10 minutes also, you talk. But then what will you do? Look, I came here to enjoy my time. Nice, wonderful food. And then the lecture hall, so many empty seats, I can sleep. Only my request is when you finish the talk and going, wake me up and I told, Madam, there are two types of people God created. One type of people to change the world. So they are constantly concerned with changing the world, writing papers, writing changing the world. Another set of people to enjoy the world. I'm the second type. I have no purpose to change the world. So, Anyat Shreyaha, Anyadutaiva Preyaha. So, some people take prayers. Ubhe nanarthe purusham sunitaha. That means to say, they have different directions. And then they bind you. That's what is sinitaha. That means they bind you. That's very important thing. See, even if the inward journey that you go, several places that you can, just what is the second chapter, first shloka. I've given only the background behind it. So they bind you. They bind you. You see, if you have gone through this particular training, then you will not get bound. See, whether it is inward journey, outward journey, then you don't get bound. See, outward journey is that more money, more this thing, more all those things against your capacity. If you have capacity to do it, that's fine. You have ability to do it. You know your nature because it's Gurukula, and then you do the work. And the fellow who did not earn so much is not in comparison with you or competition with you. Yeah, you are a wonderful person, you do it. That's what I gave the example of Rana Pratap's teacher. He said, yes, you have capacity to become the king. I can only be your chief of army, that's all. Senapati. And then that we can do it. Where is the competition? So, you see, look at the way that in the society there are people who really go up, fine, either materially or talent-wise and all that. It's okay, fine. But it is not in competition because they have an ability to do it. We have turned everything into competition today. Small little simple things, competition. I was in London, my friend's place, I went there. Young mother and the little child was there and he was happily playing. Mother is shouting at him. He's shouting at the top of her voice, and then I went there, saw for about 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, and she's still shouting, and he's happy. He's just fine. I said, why are you shouting? Raghuramji, look at him. He got 0 marks. So horrible in the school. Why? And he doesn't even speak. He's not even minding when I see that means today when you're shouting, he doesn't mind. Shouting is not useful for him. Don't shout it. But what can I do? Look at his question paper, answer book. So I saw the answer book. All nice, wonderful pictures were drawn. Sun, tree, and this and that and all that. And then the teacher wrote below 0 by whatever marks, 20, 30. And then she also made note, he can improve. That irritated the mother. I know very well that this boy is really intelligent, super intelligent. He knows everything. But then shouting doesn't help. And then what he did, then I said, you don't shout at him, let me talk to him. Then I sat with him. I said, hey, it's a nice, wonderful pictures. So how much time did you take it? He said, I don't know how much time. But then whatever time they asked us to sit down, I took that. So that means whole time that you are drawing all these things? Yes. But then you are given a question paper? Yeah. And then he immediately pick up the question paper and showed me. What did you do with the question paper? I saw that I know all the answers. Then nobody told me that I have to answer them. Then you have to sit for 1 hour. So 1 hour, what to do? So I did all the paintings. You see, look at the simple thing. The child is unmindful of all those things. Mother was shouting at him. So it's a very such a wonderful thing today. Yeah, competition, this and that, and all those things. Those days we produced much more. We didn't have competition because we had that ability to produce. Look at the music complication that we have developed. Look at the art complication that we have developed. You go to Delhi, Hollywood, etc., you can see what is there. Metallurgy we developed, architecture we developed, and all these things without competition we developed. It's only the Western model that you can only develop if there is competition, otherwise you can't develop. Unfortunately, what happened was that our own people did not understand our own culture about that. That's why it is happening. Shreyaha adadanasya sadhu bhavati hiyate atyartha preyo vrunite. Now, whoever takes up the choice of what they like, preya, then such a person, there's a possibility that he might fall down from his goal. The goal not of any particular thing, but the goal of the purpose of life itself. See, you are trying to realize yourself, that you fall from. In fact, in Vedanta, only goal is the self-realization. Only thing is that outside that you go, you might do all those things, they're wonderful, big name and all those things, but you will not become part of that selected few stars which are there in the sky, shining like the sages that are there. You have to become that. So therefore, Yama says to Nachiketa, what a beautiful thing he says, because that you have chosen what is called as Shreyas, you are in the right path of realizing yourself. You stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.